cancer, by the way, is the second most common cancer in women here in the United States. The American Cancer Society estimates there are going to be more than 200,000 new cases of invasive breast cancer diagnosed this year. The good news is there are more than 3.8 million breast cancer survivors in our country, and that includes women who are still being treated and those who have completed their treatment. This morning, joining us in studio is Dr. Margaret Fleming. She is a breast imaging radiologist for Quantum Radiology. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me here.
October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. It's just, an opportunity for us to get the message out.
Be reminded.
Be reminded of that. So, when it comes to mammograms, everybody says that's a key.
Yes.
When should women start getting screened for mammograms?
Great. So that's a great question, and that can be a source of confusion. So screening, you mentioned that breast cancer is so common.
Yes.
It's about 1 in 8 women that will be infected by it. And so the reason why it's so common, the reason why we want to do mammograms is so that we can find it early. We want to find it before a woman can feel it in her breast, before she knows she has cancer, and before it has a chance to spread. So we start screening mammograms at age 40. That's how we're going to find breast cancers. The earliest we're going to do them every year. We shouldn't miss a year. And we start at age 40. And that can sometimes be confusing for women, but it's really important to remember it.
So no matter who you are, start at age 40.
Yes.
Get that mammogram.
Yes.
And it doesn't take that much time, really.
Exactly.
Out of your day.
Exactly. And, it can be daunting for the viewers at home to think about it. I would just recommend go after this program, pick up the phone, call, and make that appointment.
And you got to go to, you have to get a referral to go do that, but certainly do that. Recently, Katie Couric announced that she had been diagnosed with breast cancer because she has dense breasts. Now, that's something that a lot of people may not have heard of. What's the difference? I mean, are you more at risk if you do, in fact, have dense breasts?
Yes, so women with dense breasts get more breast cancer. They're at increased risk for breast cancer. So to kind of take it to some basics, there's essentially 2 components in the breast, fat and fibroglandular tissue. If you have more fat, less fibroglandular tissue, you have fatty breasts, you do not have dense breasts. Women with dense breasts have more of that fibroglandular tissue, less of that fat. And the reason, so they're at increased risk for breast cancer, and it also can be a little bit more difficult for me as the radiologist who's looking at that mammogram to find those breast cancers. And again, it's just really important for all women, but women with dense breasts to have mammograms.
So for those women that may have dense breasts, do they need to go more often, or is it a different type of mammogram that they need to be getting?
So they do not need to go more often. They still need to go every year, starting at age 40. I'll say that again. And then in terms of the type of mammogram, so there's 2 main types of mammograms, 2D and 3D. 3D is often called tomosynthesis, but basically 2D was the gold standard. That's where mammograms started. We've been doing those for decades. And then in the last 10 years or so, we've been doing 3D mammograms. And if I could give you an analogy about what the difference between those two is. So if I handed you a book and you looked at the cover and you looked at the author and the title and then you turned it over and looked at the story on the back or the synopsis on the back, you would have a good idea about what that book is. That's a 2D mammogram. That's what we've been doing for forever.
And they've been effective.
Yes, they've been very effective. Again, we don't have a very high mortality rate or death rate for breast cancer in this country. Now, the difference with tomosynthesis is instead of just taking that one picture of the breast, it's going to take multiple slices through the breast. And so for me as a radiologist, I'm going to have more images to look at, but also be able to get more information and find those smaller cancers sooner. And so it would be the equivalent of me giving you that book, and if you looked through all of the pages of that book and were able to read the whole story.
Talk to your doctor. A doctor will tell you whether you need to get the 2D, the 3D, but the main emphasis is pick a month, whatever that month happens to be.
Yes.
Right?
So we were talking about this earlier. So
you and
I do December. December is my birthday month, so I already have my mammogram scheduled for December. You do October, that's your birthday. You can choose October if you want to do it for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. But basically just choose a month that you'll remember, and then that'll be the reminder every year. I have to go get my mammogram. It's time.
Dr. Fleming, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I mean, important information that can really save lives.
I appreciate it.
Yes,
thanks for having me. And it's an important topic that these viewers need to know about, so I'm glad you're showcasing it.
Yep, absolutely. Thanks a bunch. If you missed any of this interview, we're going to, by the way, post this interview online on AtlantaNewsFirst.com.